That's our challenge. That's our challenge then, is to prepare people for the work that needs doing, for raising their children, for building our homes, for creating our transportation systems, for taking care of the planet we're on. So Youth and Families Initiative is one of our priorities. Another one is Walk, Bike, Ride. How do we make walking, biking, and transit the easiest choice for as many people as possible? And this has implications not just for reducing pollution, but it also, transportation is the second highest household expense for people after housing. If you can give people good options of transit, you put money in people's pockets, you reduce pollution, you make safer communities. And so we're focusing on that as well. And we're very fortunate that we received a grant from the federal government around energy efficiency work. And our focus will be to weatherize every building in southeast and central Seattle. That's a big goal, weatherize every building. We have a $20 million grant. We're going to use it to connect with job training, provide information, do outreach, and we'll weatherize homes and multifamily buildings in southeast and central Seattle. The entire nation is looking to us to see if we can pull together the business community, financial community, job training, communities of color, and government to create an entire new industry that will be self-sustaining, that will save people money, that will reduce pollution, that will create jobs. So kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Got to pull it off. So these are the things that animate us at city government. And I'll just talk now just a minute or two more. It's interesting to me as I've gone through advocacy in the Sierra Club and at my nonprofit Great City and before, and then in my campaign, you can feel like there's something going on generationally. There's something going on generationally where, and it's not, age is not a predictor, right? Because I've been mentored and taught by many. The way I became a good Sierra Club activist was being mentored and taught by those who had been activists decades before I even thought of being an advocate. And the passion in their heart was transferred to me, and I was able to carry that passion forward. But as the years have gone by, it's clear that the younger generation views the environment differently than the older generation does as a whole. And I think it has something to do with Earth Day. I remember the first Earth Day, or maybe it was the first Earth Days, and where sometimes you have to argue with people about whether the economy and the environment go together. You don't have to make that argument with young people. That's not an argument you have. How can it be good for the economy to poison Puget Sound? How can it be good for the economy to lose our salmon? How can it be good for the economy to have people with health problems because of pollution? How can it be good for the economy to literally change our atmosphere? That can't be. So you don't have these arguments with young people. For them, the environment must be integrated into everything we do. So we know this. But the problem is we're kind of set in our ways. We've done things a certain way for a long time, and change is really hard. So that's the good news, is that the generation coming up has a different set of values. So when I was talking to Adora before starting, she was telling me about a program she's involved in called Greening My Parents. Do I have the name right, Adora?
Yes.
Greening My Parents. Now, be careful with this. I just want to warn you about this. We have a great program here in Seattle called Undriving. You can get your undriver's license. I have my undriver's license. And it's great. And you have to make a commitment to get an undriver's license. I recommend you get one. You show it around. And my daughter, Neo, who's 13, got an undriver's license. Problem is she doesn't drive, so what can she commit to do? And she already biked to school. So I suggested, actually I shouldn't warn you, Adora, the suggestion here is don't necessarily listen to your dad when he makes suggestions. I said, why don't you say you'll get mom to bike more? And that made it into the next newsletter because they published the commitments, and I got in trouble with my wife for getting that started. So be very careful about how you tell people to improve themselves. Now, by the way, I've kind of learned this as well as mayor. I've suggested that maybe billions and billions of new dollars for massive highways that will be tolled, that don't support transit isn't a good use of money. And I've made a few people upset with that because they're kind of used to doing things the same way. But you know what? On that one, it's good to make people think hard and get them upset a little bit. There are things we need to change, and we have resource decisions we need to make. We are in an era where we do not have the resources we once had. We have to accept that. Right? We've been mining our natural resources. We've been, in order to feed our way of life, we have reached further and further into the oceans to drill deeper and deeper with consequences, horrible consequences. We've asked people to go deeper and deeper into mines to bring up coal for us to live off with consequences. We are changing our natural resources in ways that we can't necessarily support. So we have to start thinking about, well, with the resources we have, what are the most important things we can invest in? And that's our people, that's being thriftier. It's not necessarily the big gray economy. It's going to be the new green economy. It's going to be the way that we build towards shared prosperity. And it will mean some difficult conversations, and it will mean we're going to have to listen. It's going to mean we're going to argue. It means we're going to disagree. But if we have that pathway to the future that we care about, or that goal we care about, we'll work through that, and we'll make the choices we need to make. I was really pleased to have the opportunity to chat with Adora at the beginning. I said, what 3 things would you like me to say about you? And she hesitated and said, well, you've been chatting with me. What 3 things would you say? And they're pretty easy. It was clever, right? That's good.
Very.
Right? Yeah, that's good.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's smart. We know that, right? She listens. She's inquisitive. But I learned 3 other things as well. She cares passionately about the future. She has found in herself that she is an advocate and wants to be an advocate. And she wants to talk to others about how they can work also to be advocates for what they believe in. And it's with great pleasure I get to introduce Adora to join us and give her presentation. Thank you.